Joanne for group rates, Fairfield Inn and Suites. Book now. Book your suite now. Call 218-844-0001.
Community-focused, conservative-minded. This is AM 1100 and 92.3 FM, WZFG, Dilworth, Fargo, Moorhead, USA.
Layers of protection. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. That's what the White House COVID team is emphasizing to help keep loved ones safe during the holiday season. Fox's Gernal Scott has more live.
Lisa, as Americans worry about travel and being with family as the Omicron variant becomes more prevalent, COVID response coordinator Jeff Zients issues a reminder.
This is not March 2020. We have more tools than ever before to protect people.
Referring to vaccines and now a pill to help people who have COVID. CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky says being vaccinated and boosted will protect from getting the virus.
Still, we know we will continue to hear more about people who get infected who are vaccinated.
She continues to recommend
Republican Jim Jordan about conversations he's reported to have had with former President Trump on the day of the Capitol riot. Committee Chairman Democrat Minnie Thompson says the panel must learn about the activities that led to the attack and writes Jordan may have information about meetings with White House officials in November and December of last year.
Fox's Jared Halpern. Jordan is the top Republican on the House Judiciary Committee. For the first time, a Proud Boys member pleads guilty to conspiring with other members to stop Congress from certifying the election. Matthew Green of New York could get more than 4 years in prison for his role in the Capitol riot, and he agrees to cooperate as part of the deal. America is listening to Fox News.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Mike Huckabee is celebrating Christmas, and you can join him. All this week, Newsmax is featuring its special Mike Huckabee's Christmas in America. Even President Trump joins Mike to talk about Christmas. Plus, see Mike's special guests, John Voight, Dr. Ben Carson, Sarah Sanders Huckabee, Benjamin Netanyahu, and more. Watch Newsmax for Mike Huckabee's Christmas in America as he discovers the real meaning of the holiday. Find Newsmax on major cable and streaming services and help make Christmas great again.
After getting a PCR test and swabbing his own nose on camera, California's governor announces a new vaccine mandate for healthcare workers.
Governor Gavin Newsom said from a testing clinic in Alameda County that healthcare workers now need to get boosted by February 1st.
I think it is a smart move. I think it's the wise move in this context that we need to make sure we don't have staffing shortages. We need to keep all of you healthy and safe. And again, the best way to do that is to get boosted.
He said they're also buying 6 million COVID tests and plan to get them to schools so children can get tested after winter break before going back into the classroom. Newsom also said they're working with testing sites to extend testing hours as COVID cases in the state have more than doubled in the last week. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
The jury in the Ghislaine Maxwell sex trafficking case is done for the week with no verdict. They are due back on Monday. Maxwell is the British socialite accused of grooming girls for Jeffrey Epstein to abuse. She is already the queen of Christmas on the charts. Now her song has broken a record for climbing to the top 3 times.
You've probably been hearing it a lot in stores while holiday shopping. Mariah Carey's 1994 hit has broken a record. It just moved into the top spot on the Billboard Hot 100, becoming the first song to do so in 3 separate chart runs. All I Want for Christmas Is You breaks its tie with Chubby Checker's The Twist, which hit number 1 in 1960 and returned to the top 2 years later. Mariah Carey's Christmas classic first climbed to number 1 in 2019, made it back last year, and then moved up from number 2 this week.
Fox's Monica DeLuca. The song has a total of 6 weeks at number 1. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
Clouds will be on the increase as we head throughout your evening, with southerly winds between 5 and 15. We'll drop down to a low of 15 overnight with a slight chance for a light dusting of snow, slightly higher amounts in the far northern valley. The winds stay light on Thursday, 5 to 15 from the south. We'll have partly cloudy conditions with a high in the lower to mid-30s, and the winds will gust up to 25 through the evening and overnight with a slight chance for a wintry mix into early Friday morning. From the Flag Skywatch Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Justin Storm.
Happy holidays from a cutting edge. How would you like to save thousands of dollars on a diamond? And how about saving hundreds and maybe thousands on a mounting? Well, now you can do it at a cutting edge. We've combined our diamond sale with our great mounting sale. For the first time ever, you can save more money than you ever could before at a cutting edge gallery of jewelry. So if you want the biggest, whitest, brightest diamond, no matter what your budget, come to a cutting edge, 4507 33rd Avenue South, Fargo.
One more time, got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate and dance so free. One more time, this got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate.
The Chris Berg Show, where faith and freedom reign.
One more time.
Let me ask you a question today to kick things off. Right now, do you feel like we live in the United States of fear or the United States of faith? The United States of fear or the United States of faith? You and I have talked often on the show. I've talked about, hey, look, what's happening right now, right in our world, let alone the United States, is probably the biggest movie, the biggest psyop we've seen in the history of mankind. And then today I came across a pretty famous children's psychiatrist out of LA by the name of Dr. Mark McDonald. He's got a new book called The United States of Fear: How America Fell Victim to a Mass Delusional Psychosis. In other words, a psyop. And that's what we've asked her now many, many times. Is this being done almost in a purposeful way? When I lay this out for you today, you may have an interesting theory and or thesis on that situation. Welcome to the Chris Berg Show. This is your daily dose of truth to help set you free. Today, we are going to talk about freeing your mind of fear. What can we do to get back to being the United States of faith? And we're coming to you live from the PetroServe USA studio, helping you and America fuel better. As you're out driving around today, please stop into your local PetroServe USA, pick up some gas and some goodies. I'm going to get to some clips here in a moment to talk about what we're sharing here about the United States of fear versus the United States of faith. Before I do, I want you to just think about and imagine your DNA and my DNA. And I don't mean sort of literally, not necessarily literally, right? I don't want to get to mRNA technology, but I'm talking about just the DNA of who you and I are as Americans. And that's why I ask, when you think about being the United States of fear right now versus the United States of faith, think about who we are at the root, at the DNA. When you start to think about 400 years ago, people jumped into wooden boats. Think about the faith that it takes to jump into a wooden boat, get into a huge body of water, an ocean, and go, yeah, I'm going to go float around in this thing, hoping that I can find the land of the free. And why were they doing that? Why were they putting their lives on the line and utilizing such faith to go and pray and hope they find the land of the free? Because they wanted to get rid of and away from tyranny. It was the tyranny, like we see today, the tyranny that had people put their lives on the line with such faith, such belief, such a desire to be free. That's who you and I are. When you think about the core of being an American, there is such a zealousness, such a love for freedom that people who are our ancestors got into wooden boats in the hope that they would come and find the land of the free. That's why here on the Chris Berg Show, we talk so often about freedom, right? The truth shall set you free. And we want to continue to plant these seeds of faith, hope, love, and truth, because right now, as you and I both know, when we talk about this, You walk up to people these days, and I'm sure you've all had this experience, but you walk up to people these days, and there's some people out there that if you're not vaccinated, it's like from the book of Matthew, like you're a leper. Unclean, unclean, right? Shame, shame, shame. I mean, that's the direction some people go because they're in such a psychosis. And then you take that same person that's shaming you for not getting the vaccination, you go, I'm sorry. Did you know that like 45% of the cases last week, for example, in Minnesota were breakthrough cases? People that had the vaccine and still got COVID? And like, no, that can't be true. This vaccine is fantastic. It's like they're under a spell. It's like they're under some sort of psychosis that puts people in fear. And this is the power of why I want to get into this today. Have you ever heard of, studied, looked at what happens to the brain when it's in a state of fear? I mean, think about your own life. Think about times in your life when you've been in a state of fear, had fear about something, been fearful. Did you find yourself making great decisions when you're in a state of fear? Or maybe not so good decisions? When you get your mind and your state of mind in a state of fear, you start making very, very poor decisions. And the people that are running this show, this psyop, this psychosis, they know it. Dr. Jensen, back in April of 2020, was on my TV show. He talked about how some of the COVID numbers weren't necessarily being reported accurately. And I said, whoa, Doc. Dr. Jensen, what are you talking about? Why in the world would they not want to report these numbers accurately when you see the death numbers that are taking place? He said, Chris, when you put people into a state of fear, it's pretty easy to control them. And this is why in the show we talk about you and I coming together as a community and saying we are not going to give in to a state of fear. We are going to live in a state of power, love, and sound mind. Like even, look, I love my grandma dearly. She's a sound-minded woman. She's fantastic. Even she and I were talking last night. She's watching the news. She's like, Chris, how you doing? Like, are you sure you don't want to get the shot? I'm like, Graham, I'm good. She's like, are you sure? Because now even I, watching this news every day, even I'm starting to wonder. I said, I get it, Graham. I get it. It's part of the psyop. So I want to play some clips for you here today to lay out how the people in power, because you and I both know when you give somebody power, they ain't giving it back to you. They ain't giving it back to you, right? So how the people in power are so hungry for power that there's a possibility they could actually be intentionally doing this delusional psychosis, putting you into a state of fear for control. This is Dr. Peter McCullough. He was on the Joe Rogan podcast. Listen closely because Joe Rogan sets it up really well. Like, hey, doc, this doesn't make any sense. Like, we've got all these doctors and hospitals and medical research places. Like, how in the world can we not be focused on treatment and only the vaccine? It's a pretty long clip, so just stay with me. But here's Joe Rogan and Dr. Peter McCullough, which, by the way, if you're listening today, tell your family and friends. Tomorrow here on the Chris Berg Show at 4:30 p.m., our special guest, Dr. Peter McCullough. It's going to be a fascinating conversation tomorrow at 4:30.
How did they organize something like this? And how do you get so many doctors to go along with this? How do you get so many doctors to not speak out against the lack of pre-hospitalization care, the lack of early treatment?
We think there's about 500 doctors who knows what's going on in the United States.
500.
500. We got 1 million doctors in the United States. We got 500,000 nurse practitioners and physician assistants. I can tell you the nurses are more awake than the doctors.
Why is that?
The doctors appear to be like many of our leaders. By the way, all the leaders of the major churches, every single one of them, the major religious branches are under the spell. Every major global international leader is under the spell.
I love how he breaks it down, under the spell. How many times have you and I asked the question, what happened to our faith leaders? They've got a First Amendment right. Remember, our Constitution built off our Declaration of Independence. That's why I call, the DNA of Americans. It says life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, unalienable rights. One of those is our First Amendment rights. And yet you had faith leaders, pastors, that when the government said, you need to shut down, no more going to your churches, no more praising Jesus, they're like, okay, sir, whatever you say, Mr. Government. When's the last time that a pastor was supposed to give praise to the government rather than praise to God? Because that's not how it works. If you're in a church right now and you've got a pastor that's praising government rather than praising God, you need to leave that church and have a very serious conversation with your pastor before you do.
We're in what's called a mass formation psychosis. This is very important. I give credit to Dr. Matthias Desmet in the University of Ghent in Belgium. And recently, Dr. Mark McDonald, psychiatrist from LA, Mark McDonald's got a new book out, The United States of Fear, describing how the mass psychosis developed. What your listeners need to know is a mass psychosis is when there is a groupthink that develops that's so strong that it leads to something horrific. And the examples are these mass suicides that occur in these religious cults. The example is Nazi Germany, when people walk into gas chambers and were gassed, these horrific things. And 4 elements here. It's very important, Joe. First, there must be a period of prolonged isolation, lockdowns. Number 2, there must be.
Now, keep in mind, okay, Dr. McCullough has said, hey, Joe, if we would have utilized the Dr. McCullough protocol for early treatments, in fact, he goes on to say, and I might play this clip if we have time, he goes on to say, Joe, there is not one, please hear me, there is not one death that has happened due to COVID if that person got early treatment. Not a one. So why have we not been more focused on treatment? And as you go through this, you start to hear the 4 things that he discussed about mass psychosis. You go, wait a second, we're doing all those things and they're not even working. Remember, there is no proof that isolation has actually had an impact on mitigating COVID. And yet here we are having prolonged isolation and we see what's going on right now. The thing that caused the most deaths for 18 to 45-year-olds in the United States of America last year, not COVID, fentanyl. Why are people going to heroin and fentanyl? Because they've got mental challenges. It's a psychosis.
A withdrawal of things taken away from people that they used to enjoy. That's happened. Number 3, there must be constant, incessant, free-floating anxiety. All this news cycle, all the deaths and the hospitalizations, more variant mutant strains, everything, people could be becoming scared over and over again.
Quick question for you. If you're not a doctor, you may or may not know this, and yet when you think about death certificates, do you think when somebody dies that the death certificate just shows up just like that for people to report that death? Or do you think it takes maybe 4, 6, 7 weeks for death certificates to actually and accurately be reported? If you chose the latter, you're right. It takes weeks for people to accurately get death certificates to have that information properly reported. And yet when you think back to when this first happened, what was on the side of the screen on CNN the whole time? You had John Hopkins running the death numbers every single day, doing what? Creating anxiety, creating fear about something that we had no idea about. And I just want you to ask yourself, how did John Hopkins get all that data so fast? How did John Hopkins know all those deaths so quickly when it takes so long to actually certify death certificates?
And the last thing, number 4, the capper. The capper is there must be a single solution offered by an entity in authority. And in this case is clear. Worldwide, the solution was vaccination. Everybody must take the vaccination. It's not a U.S. program. It's not a European. It's everywhere. And you know what, Joe? It doesn't matter what vaccine it is. It could be China-Vac, Coronavac. It could be Novavax. It could be Pfizer, Moderna, J&J. It's interesting that it doesn't even matter what vaccine it is. It's just take a vaccine, take any vaccine. And so what mass psychosis says is, number 4, the solution, there's no limit to the absurdity of the solution.
This is exactly why you and I must not comply. You're under a psyop. Please get out of fear, move into faith, because we are in the middle of the greatest show on earth in the history of mankind. So just to be respectful, we've got a guest in studio of his time. I do want to play for you one more clip here. This is actually from the author of the book I just mentioned at the top of the show, United States of Fear, How America Fell Victim to a Mass Delusional Psychosis. This is a pretty famous child psychiatrist, in Los Angeles, named Dr. Mark McDonald. He was on the Conservative Review podcast with Daniel Horowitz. please listen to his response around the psychosis of fear that is gripping many Americans. Not people that listen to the Chris Berg Show, but many Americans, and what you and I can be doing as fellow Americans to help pull these people out of the state of fear and give them hope and love and truth.
Great Reset would fall apart, and that's why ivermectin is like worse than the Confederate flag. It's like the most, it's the worst thing you can ever do.
Somehow this
they
got
have
to the
to deny
wrong
it
clip.
from people that they literally say.
You don't have. I agree with you about the lack of the control group. It's hard to hide things when you have control group. What ends up
So
happening?
give me a second. I want to get this to the right place for
Problems,
this doc,
obviously,
because
it means they can't have a
it's
control
important.
group. Is that what this is all
Here you go.
about? Denying a control group?
I think that once you instill fear into a population, what ends up happening is that reason, rationality, common sense goes out the window. So you don't have. I agree with you about the lack of the control group. It's hard to hide things when you have control groups. Just like it would be hard to hide, say, the deaths of 5-year-olds, which is what we're going to start seeing, is this forced biological agent that's called a vaccine and it's not a vaccine, becomes pushed into the veins of our American children. And
I want to pause there just for a moment, because you and I have talked on the show. I've said to you many times, they're coming for your kids. And you just heard a child psychiatrist, very well known in Los Angeles, say, we're going to begin to see deaths because we're going to start pushing something that we're not even sure what it is into the bodies of 5-year-olds. So please go to your doctor. I'm not an MD. And please just think thoroughly, clearly, right? Not from a spirit of fear, but clearly around what it is you're asking to potentially ingest into your son or daughter's body.
I think that the more people are scared, the less they're able to see that even if there were a control group, that there's something fundamentally wrong. I think that, I'll put it to you this way, on a hierarchy here, I think eliminating control groups is a anticipatory defense against the attacks of those who are rational and logical. And there's always going to be a few. I'm in that group, you're in that group. There's enough of us to raise a fuss and to do interviews and podcasts and commentary and speeches on the Supreme Court steps. But as long as that group can be sidelined and marginalized by continuing to instill fear in the population and disseminate false information, no matter how obviously, how strikingly we point out the lack of logic, common sense, and reality, even if there were a control group, the more easy it is for the government, media, and corporations that are all working together, all colluding together to continue to dismiss those voices. It's a very common attack and method used by totalitarian governments, and it's been used throughout the 20th century.
So there you have it, right? You've got people walking around, they're in the psychosis of fear, and this is why you and I talk about just go be a light. Right now, people are dying. I don't mean that literally, but figuratively, obviously. You can see it in their eyes. You can see it in their soul, where people are like, look, I don't have any more hope. So whatever you can do to muster up some hope, some faith, some love, some truth, please go plant those seeds into people's hearts, because you and I both know, especially growing up here in this Red River Valley area, you reap what you sow. So if you can go out and just plant seeds of faith, hope, love, and truth, we got a shot to get out of this thing on the other side and get out of this United States of fear and become again the United States of faith, which is really at the root of our DNA, the men and women that got on boats looking for the land of the free. All right, when we come back, very special guest, Dr. Jake Schmitz. He's going to be sitting in for me next week when I'm on holiday, so he's going to join us here. We're going to get his take on the United States of fear versus the United States of faith, and maybe even more importantly, because he is a doctor, he's a chiropractor, he does a lot with nutrition. What can you be doing to empower yourself around your own health to protect yourself? Because look, if you get COVID, it can be very, very serious for some people. So what can you be doing to protect yourself to ensure, or at least give you the best chance possible to not contract COVID and continue to go out there with vitality and love and hope and faith and truth and spread those seeds? So Dr. Jake Schmitz, when we come back, number to call on the show if you've got questions for him or want to talk about anything, 701-271-1100. This is the Chris Berg Show, your daily dose of truth to help set you free.
Ready to celebrate the new year? O'Kelly's is having a New Year's Eve bash to help ring in 2022 with all you can eat and drink for the evening beginning at 7 p.m. There's live music and DJing from Terry Mackner and a free champagne toast at midnight. And they're going with the 70s theme, so bring out the flair. It's the O'Kelly's New Year's Eve bash with all you can eat and drink, $125 per person or $200 a couple, and stay overnight at the Biltmore for only $60. Details on the O'Kelly's Facebook page.
Hey, Chris Berg here. Why don't you know PetroServe USA has got some outstanding car washes, and it's just that time of year. The roads get a little bit slushy and sloppy, and clearly that shows up on your car. Here is some great news for you. On Tuesdays at PetroServe USA, buy one car wash, get the second one free. How great is the word free? Buy one, get one free on Tuesdays for your car wash at PetroServe USA.
Powerball now draws on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, and the jackpot has climbed to $378 million. Wow. Get your tickets now for tonight's drawing, the North Dakota Lottery. Imagine the possibilities.
Your school can earn up to $10,000 this year. Just save the UPCs from the Country Hearth products your family already enjoys. Learn more at loavesforlearning.com. That's loavesforlearning.com.
You don't know what you don't know.
Was that from Confucius?
Andrew from the Window and Door Store. When it comes to investing in new replacement windows and doors for your home, you should ask a lot of questions so you know what you don't know.
That's why we tell everyone, ask us anything. I'm Jaden.
And I'm Andrew. I'm the manager of the Window and Door Store in Fargo.
Look, you can buy windows and doors almost anywhere.
Except grocery stores and flower shops.
But there's a huge difference in the quality, the energy efficiency, and the value.
We don't care if you buy windows and doors somewhere else. Just be sure to ask plenty of questions.
When you buy windows from the Window and Door Store, we give you
a lifetime guarantee on the installation. Call me and I'll come to your home whenever it works best for you.
We can show you beautiful replacement window or door samples and give you an estimate, and
there's no obligation and no pressure.
Better windows, better doors. The Window and Door Store in Fargo.
Hi there, Teresa from the Fargo Red Wing Shoe Store. I'd like to thank you, the hardworking men and women, for supporting our small business because we couldn't do it without you. So thank you, each and every one of you, for helping us have this memorable year. It's been our pleasure to help you. If you've never worn Red Wing boots, stop in and see what we're all about at 3003 Main Avenue in Fargo. Red Wing Shoes for ultimate durability.
Hey there, if you need seed, think Proseed. Yes, if you need seed, think Proseed. You can go find out more at proseed.net. Right now, they've got a great, it's called the Right Choice Program. Keith Peltier over there does an outstanding job helping farmers really maximize their yields with the seeds that he's choosing all the time. And the nice thing about it, when you go and buy seed from Proseed, they've got this Right Choice program where you can get some discounts and some different varieties. So also, we are sending some teams and some of our team, I should say, down to Frisco for the Bison. So Keith Peltier is a big proponent of Bison football, Bison athletics. So we help and support the Bison as well. So again, if you need seed, think Proseed. Check out their Right Choice program. You can find out more at proseed.net. Again, go check out proseed.net.
Was done for, thought that love had died, but you came along, I swear you saved my life, and I want to thank you, baby, because you make it feel like Christmas. You make it feel like
Dr. Jake, I want to thank you. You make it feel like Christmas, my friend.
Awesome. That's awesome. I love the energy in here. It's just great.
It's fantastic, great. Isn't it?
I'm over here dancing.
And why do you think that is?
Because we're living in faith.
Man, dude. See, you and I are like brothers. You just read my mind. I love Dr. Jake Schmitz is with us. He's with Freedom Wellness Center. You can find out more. Just go to Facebook, check out Freedom Wellness Center. Could there be any better name for a place to have on the Chris Berg Show than Freedom Wellness Center. His hat says legalize freedom. And so let's start there. You mentioned the faith piece. I was thinking that myself. Your reaction, I guess, just to my opening statement in regards to, are we the United States of fear or the United States of faith?
I think that was, I mean, we should be replayed that often, that's entire segment, because again, this entire thing that we've been going through for the last, whatever it's been now, it feels like 17 years, but it was like, remember, it was 2 weeks to flatten the curve. I mean, what happened there? Now we're on 2 years going on now, and we still have this same story going on. And it's like, at some point we need to just stop, remove the mask, take a deep breath, and realize, you know what, life's going to be great. If we just turn the TV off, like, this virus goes away overnight. That is the issue right there. If you didn't know about it, you wouldn't worry about it, and you'd live your life. And we do what we've done for thousands of years with viruses, which is just go about your day, live your life, try to, commit and give back to the world. And you know what? Life just moves on.
But to be fair, I mean, there are people with comorbidity issues. There are even people that don't, but you can get COVID and it can wreak some havoc in your life. So, I mean, I agree with you that you don't want to dwell on it. At the same point in time, I think it's important that you're at least privy to it to make sure that you're doing what you can to give you the best chance to either not get it or to recover quickly. Yes?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, to your point, those with comorbidities is more of a reflection on the fact that there are things that you can do on the front side than the back side. So even in that portion of the narrative with comorbidities and making it worse, like, if you just take, if we took some time collectively as a United States of faith, as we're talking about, and actually put some emphasis into being healthier, like, I mean, for example, vitamin D. We talk about this all the time, you and I. With vitamin D, if your vitamin D is at an adequate level, it like reduces your chance. I can't remember, it's like 5 times, like by a factor of 5 of dying of COVID. Like zinc, if you're deficient in zinc, you're 13 times, I think the number is, more likely to have severe COVID. So, like, these are really simple things. Like, if you just focus on those. So to your point, yes. However, that's also an opportunity for growth and change and improvement.
And that's what I want to get to. Again, if you're just joining us, Dr. Jake Schmitz is with us. He's with Freedom Wellness Center. Love the name. Freedom Wellness Center. And right now, there's so many people that I'm coming across, at least, that are sick. It could be either COVID, it could be a flu, it could be a cold, whatever. And yet it amazes me as I talk to these people. I'm like, okay, so what are you doing? You on a protocol or anything? Like, nah, I'm just kind of taking my same old, vitamin C or maybe an immunity pill and these are people that, are in the know, take care of themselves, and yet not following a more strict protocol to help you. Kind of shaking your head. But I mean,
no, I'm right with you. I mean, I think there's certain things to think about here. If you're somebody who's concerned, then yes, I would say we need to be, buckling down on vitamin D and zinc and quercetin and some of these other things we've talked about. But then on the same side, like, if you're taking care of your health and you're being proactive and you're not, if you're fairly fit and you don't have a ton of comorbidities, you're not diabetic, you're not obese, like, I don't know if you really necessarily need to alter your lifestyle that much. And so some of those people, I'm like, hey, keep doing what you're doing, keep living your life, don't worry about it. But then there's some that I'm like, hey, you know what, maybe we should put some more emphasis on your health. And this is the perfect opportunity to do that right now.
But knowing the season we're in,
yes,
as our president has talked about, a winter of death, right? If you're not vaccinated, I mean, doesn't it just make sense to me, or correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't it just make sense? We're like, okay, maybe I should jack up my vitamin C, jack up my vitamin D, take some more zinc. Even if I'm fine, doesn't it give me another level of protection?
I 100% agree with you.
Okay.
And that's the point. Totally. And those are things that super simple things that we can do at any point in time, especially right now during winter. There's a reason we call it the flu season, because it's colder. The sun, we don't get as much sun exposure. Like, our immune system is just naturally going to be lower. And so this is why a variant would all of a sudden pop up, because again, we're more susceptible right now. So taking those proactive steps is wildly important.
But wait a second, the variant's not going to just pop up because we're more susceptible. The variant's popping up because of the vaccine, right?
Yes and no. I mean, every virus is going to go through this. And again, it's like, I saw an awesome post on Facebook, like, God wins again because God helped our immune systems that were given by God. We are fighting this battle. We create this new Omicron variant because that's just how viruses work. And you know what? It's more spreadable. You're not going to die from it for the most part. I mean, again, there's excruciating examples, but you're not going to die from it. It's going to work its way through the system, and then we're over it. That's how it's supposed to work every single time.
So I want to, when we come back, real quickly, before we take a break, I want to get just a really simple, for people that are listening right now, just a very simple, Chris, here's the top 3 things you can do for your immune system. So let's go over that first, and then I'll set up what we're going to do next.
Perfect. Vitamin D, quercetin, and zinc. super simple. Vitamin D, 5,000 international units a day minimum. Zinc, you can do 50 milligrams minimum. And well, again, we can talk about different kinds of zinc. And then quercetin, you can do anywhere from 1 to 2 grams per day minimum. And during the season especially, that is going to give you your greatest chance of preventing it in the first place.
You've dropped quercetin?
Yeah, quercetin.
Quercetin a couple times. Is that something I just can buy on its own?
Yep.
Or is that?
Yeah, you can totally get that. Natural Grocers here in Fargo has it. I mean, most health stores have quercetin. And again, you're going to find it in the allergy section because again, you'll find a lot of commonalities between colds and allergies. So, and again, that's how they act on the cells. So yeah, you can find it a lot of places.
So one of the big things that is shocking to me, folks, is that we continue to hear from these authoritarian, tyrannical, fascist, we'll call it organizations, governments, however you want to say that. They continue to say, take the shot, take the shot, take the shot, because that's the safest way to go out and celebrate the holidays or to travel. Whatever. And yet what's amazing is that there are a lot of studies out there that show that natural immunity is actually stronger than the shot. And believe it or not, the CDC is not even tracking the people that have natural immunity in the United States of America. So, question for you that we're going to talk about when we come back, is it even possible? Is it even possible to get COVID more than once? We're going to answer that coming up right after this on the Chris Berg Show, your daily dose of truth to help set you free.
Clouds will be on the increase as we head throughout your evening with southerly winds between 5 and 15. We'll drop down to a low of 15 overnight with a slight chance for a light dusting of snow, slightly higher amounts in the far northern valley. The winds stay light on Thursday, 5 to 15 from the south. We'll have partly cloudy conditions with a high in the lower to mid 30s, and the winds will gust up to 25 through the evening and overnight with a slight chance for a wintry mix into early Friday morning. From the Flag Skywatch Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Justin Storm.
Oh, come all ye faithful.
This Christmas season, our Shields family would like to take a moment to pause and recognize the people who surround us. We're grateful for the blessings of family and friends who support and guide us. From moms and dads, brothers and sisters, friends and neighbors, thank you for your kindness and care. From all of us at Shields, thank you and have a Merry Christmas.
When it's time to put the hammer down, build with Thor. At Thor Buildings, we'll give you a contract up front and guaranteed that price from start to finish. We specialize in post-frame construction. This means it will cost you less than traditional construction. So whether it's commercial, residential, or agriculture, it's important to us to build a quality product at a price you can afford. Let us bring your building project to life. Go online to thorbuildings.com. So when it's time to put the hammer down, build with Thor.
What do you think when you hear the word accounting? Numbers and columns, decimal points and dollar signs? Exciting stuff, right? To the team at Hager Comer, it's like drawing up a play in the last 2 minutes of a football game. To them, it's not just numbers, it's clues about where the business is going or where it's been. Clues to help clients make more money or spend less. Hager Comer. They make business better. Online at hagercomer.com. That's hagercomer.com.
Hi, I'm Ashley, owner of the Aspire Optical Company. We saved the best for last at Aspire Optical, and now through December 31st, save 50% off your frames with lens purchase. It's time to save hundreds of dollars on your next great pair of eyewear, perfect for those with HSA and FSA benefits. Browse the largest selection of eyewear in the region, eye exams available 6 days a week, book online at aspireoptical.com. 50% off your frame until December 31st, Aspire Optical Company. We are eyewear like you've never seen.
Mike Huckabee is celebrating Christmas, and you can join him. All this week, Newsmax is featuring its special Mike Huckabee's Christmas in America. Even President Trump joins Mike and talks about Christmas. So watch Governor Huckabee and his guests John Voight, Joe Namath, Dr. Ben Carson, Sarah Sanders Huckabee, Benjamin Netanyahu, and more. Just tune into Mike Huckabee's Christmas in America as he discovers the real meaning of the holiday. Newsmax is America's news channel for real news. We love them. Find it on all major cable systems. And if your cable operator doesn't carry Newsmax, call them and demand it, because you can get Newsmax free streaming on Amazon Fire, Samsung, Roku, Zumo, Pluto, LG, YouTube, and more. I watch Newsmax, and you should too. Get the free Newsmax app on your phone as well. Watch anywhere. And check out Newsmax for Mike Huckabee's Christmas in America. You'll love it.
Gentlemen, let me help you. All right. So here's what I want to do is, we know we are just 2 days away now from Christmas Eve. Help me help you become a hero this holiday season. How is that for an alliteration, huh? Help me help you become a hero this holiday season. Here's all you have to do. Go stop into a Cutting Edge Gallery of Jewelry. Talk to my buddy Jeff over there. He's got a great holiday special going on right now. Buy 3 pieces, get 30% off. Buy 2 pieces of jewelry, 25% off. Just buy a piece, you get 20% off. Great deals, which is awesome because it saves you some money. But most importantly, guys, you're going to have this beautiful little package under the tree for that someone special that you love, and they're going to open it up, and you will be the hero this holiday season. Just step over to Cutting Edge Gallery of Jewelry. It's over on 45th Street between 32nd, 33rd Avenue. Big, beautiful jewelry building. Tell Jeff, hey, Chris Berg told me to come in and say hi to you to save some money and to be a hero this holiday season.
Bring me love this Christmas, cause I deserve you, yeah. Bring me love this Christmas, cause I've been good this year. Oh, be bringing me love this Christmas, cause I deserve you, yeah. Bring me love this Christmas, cause I've been good this year. Oh, be bringing me love.
I don't know who this is, but I'm into it. Bring me love this Christmas. I've been good this year. John, oh, man, nobody can tell me that. I don't like John Legend. If you know anything about John Legend and Chrissy Teigen, you're like, oh, geez. Although I will say that was a pretty decent song. He's got a great song from the MLK movie as well, but just not a big fan of those two. All right. So joining us now in studio, Dr. Jake Schmitz. Again, check out Freedom Wellness Center on Facebook, Freedom Wellness Center. If you're someone who's looking to say, you know what, everyone around me's been sick, or maybe I'm not feeling that great, go to that Facebook page. He's got an outstanding protocol there to fight off COVID, raise your immune system, whatever it might be, and get you some great stuff to handle that. The big question right now is this. Is natural immunity better than the shot, number one? And if you've had COVID, is it even possible to get COVID 2 times? Is it even possible? I'm going to play for you what Dr. Peter McCullough says on the Joe Rogan Show, and then we'll bring in Dr. Jake and get his take. Whoa, did I just say that out loud?
You did. Yep.
Did I just say that out loud? We're going to bring in Dr. Jake and get his take. First, though, here's Dr. Peter McCullough on the Joe Rogan Show.
CDC doesn't give a green light to do this. Asymptomatic testing, and people like you and me, we just walked in, we have asymptomatic testing, that if we get a positive, the chances that positive is false positive is 97%.
Whoa! Let me just do a little mic drop right here, folks. If you are asymptomatic and you go in and get a test, according to Dr. McCullough, 97% chance you're going to get a false positive. Anybody else telling you that? No. You know why? Because you got Uncle Joe going, hey, we're going to send out billions and billions of dollars worth of tests. Anyways, here's the more important information.
97%. And that is if you are asymptomatic.
Completely asymptomatic. And to make matters worse, so many of us have already had COVID-19. And now our CDC admits, finally through a Freedom of Information Act, lead attorney Aaron Siri pressed the CDC and said, listen, you're saying you can get COVID twice. Show us a case. Show us a case. Press. Finally, the CDC director came out and said, you know what? You can't get it twice. We've never had a single
But I have
case.
a friend that got it twice.
What you have is you have a friend who thinks he had it twice. What happened is on one or more occasions, it's a false positive test, or he actually had the dead virus that he's carrying forward. Somebody in my family circles had COVID-19, for sure had it, got sick. That person tested positive intermittently 17 times.
Yeah, but this wasn't just a test positive. He got sick, he recovered, And then about 7-8 months later, he got sick again, tested positive again, and had a much milder case of it, but still got COVID twice.
Yeah, it wasn't a second case. This is what's happened.
For sure?
Yeah, there's about 100 purported cases like this in the literature. I've looked at them all. What happens is we would need a rigorous definition of, put it this way, if you could get COVID-19 twice, we would have seen hundreds of millions of cases. Do you know how susceptible the elderly are? This would have swept through the nursing homes over and over again. We would have seen grandmothers on the ventilator 16 times. I'm telling you right now, you can't get it twice. The criteria are, and this is the reason why the CDC says it can't happen. The criteria would be that you have a positive PCR test at a low cycle threshold.
So there you have it. Dr. McCullough suggesting that, basically saying it's impossible to get COVID twice. Dr. Jake Schmitz in studio. Your response? What's your take, Jake?
I think it's spot on. I mean, what he's saying right there is, if we're basing it off the PCR test, which we know now, the PCR test, the way that we've done it, I can't speak to other states, but I know in our state, North Dakota, we've done it completely wrong. You run the cycle threshold so much, you're getting all these false positives. So if you have an asymptomatic false positive, which he just said 97%, even if he's mostly wrong and it's only a third of the cases are false positives, think about that. Now you're going to be exposed later on. Now you're going to get sick. I had it twice. No, you didn't.
Not only that, though, think about when we were running through this thing, completely know what we were doing, and you had a positive. What did you have to do?
You quarantined, you sat out.
Yes.
You life ended pretty much. You sat it out.
97% asymptomatic. Think about the people that had to go sit at home, miss work,
Yep.
Nothing.
Think of the economy. Think about what happened to the economy over the last year and a half. And if that, based on what he just said, and I think that's true, the PCR test is garbage. And we've known it's garbage.
But go through the cycle thresholds. I don't know if people really understand what that means or what that is.
So, and again, I'm not a super expert on the PCR test, but essentially what happens, the more you cycle that through, the more opportunities you're putting for the machine to catch any fragment of any kind of DNA of the virus. And that's where the person who created the PCR test is like, that's not what it's used for. It's not used as a diagnostic test. So it'll pick up the flu, coronavirus, it'll pick up enterovirus, rhinovirus. It picks up all of them, and you just get one positive. So you could be positive for however many other viruses, and they're just, yep, positive, you got COVID, you got a coronavirus, and you don't. And like I said, false positive is just going to keep running that through until they can come up with, and they can test it positive. You're supposed to run it at like 20s, and we've been running it above 30. Yeah, I was going to say above 30s. Anything over a 35, I think Fauci even said that at one point. Anything over 35 is a false positive. And we run it constantly at 40.
Whoa. Anytime we refer to St. Fauci, it has to be St. Fauci, just so you know, okay? On the Chris Berg Show. Oh, fascinating stuff. Dr. Jake, we're going to keep you for the last segment because he's going to be sitting in for me next week, folks, while I'm on holiday. But quickly, for people that are going, hey, you know what? I like what this guy's got to say. He's all about freedom and wellness. If they want more information from you, or maybe they want to visit with you about getting some kind of protocol or come see you for their nutrition needs, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can call the office. I'll give you the number, 701-356-3242. And you can just call. We can set up an appointment to sit down and chat and figure out what you need to get back on track for your health.
And again, his Facebook page is Freedom Wellness Center. Freedom Wellness Center. You can check him out on Facebook. When we come back, I want to share with you again about the power of treatment. Right, the power of prophylactics. We've told you the story. I think it was this week. My mind is such mush right now, but I think it was Monday. We had the gentleman on actually that walked into the Sanford and Bismarck and got patted down. Patted down because they wanted to ensure he didn't have ivermectin on him. Yet back in, what was it, 2015, 2009, the guy that created ivermectin won a Nobel Prize because of the good he was doing in the world.
Perfectly safe, millions and millions of doses, totally safe. But you know what? Now all of a sudden it's dangerous.
Dustin, did we pat him down for ivermectin before he got in here? If not, I apologize. Holy cow! All right, stay with us when we come back. We'll be wrapping things up because I want to share with you one more thing about how we could have actually saved 85% of the lives lost. That is such a stunning number. It's hard to fathom. We could have saved 85% of the lives lost due to COVID if we would have just done one simple thing. Was it an ineptitude or was it purposeful? That and more when we come back.
Your farm and business depends on a reliable source for energy. PetroServe USA is the customer-owned co-op committed to being a stable source of fuel for your equipment and propane to dry your grain. We have the capacity to make sure you never run out of fuel and to keep prices stable. Dependability, competitive prices, and exemplary service. That's PetroServe USA, helping America fuel better.
PetroServe USA.
Call today.
For 31st, submit your prediction at am1100theflag.com and click on Hot Links.
Hey, this is Patty Post from CheckableWellness.com. I'm a busy wife, working mom of 3, always striving to live my healthiest life. If you're anything like me, you need simple life hacks that keep you on track. And that's what apple cider vinegar gummies from CheckableWellness.com do for me, and they can do it for you too. For a limited time, sign up for a 25% discount on your first order. The CheckableWellness.com apple cider vinegar gummies, they cut my cravings for sweet and savory snacks. It works as a probiotic to promote digestive health, and best of all, they help me accomplish my health goals. But don't take it from me. Laura left this testimonial on CheckableWellness.com. The apple cider vinegar gummies help me with weight loss, and as a result, I feel more energized. Visit CheckableWellness.com to sign up for the 25% off these tasty, convenient gummies made with real apple cider vinegar that help you become the best version of yourself.
Well, it's true. You have helped build MyPillow into the amazing company that it is today. And Mike Lindell has an amazing offer for you right now on his My Slippers. They're going to be selling My Slippers right now 40% off. 40% off. They have moccasins or slip-ons available for men and women with multiple colors to choose from in every style. You can also get a huge discount on the 3-inch mattress topper that's now 50% off. Yeah, I said it. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener square on the homepage to get the My Slippers 40% off, the mattress topper 50% off, or you can call 800-506-9028. And as always, use that promo code SCOTT. Promo code is SCOTT. MyPillow.com. Made in the USA, comes with a 10-year warranty. You know it's going to last. 60-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Time to start getting the quality sleep that you need and want at MyPillow.com. MyPillow.com.
Hi, this is Andy Murdoch with Piper's Auctioneers, your equipment auction team that gets results. There's never been a better time to turn iron into cash. Piper's equipment auction team is prepared to offer a free market analysis of your assets and provide uncomparable options for you, whether it's a private on-farm auction, a timed online-only auction, or consignment in any one of Piper's regional equipment auctions throughout North and South Dakota. Contact Piper's Auctioneers at 701-523-7366 to discuss your Piper's exclusive equipment auction for 2022, or log on to pipers.com for all upcoming auctions.
My eyes have seen the glory of the Lord, Lord, Lord. Yes, my eyes have seen the glory of the Lord. It don't matter if you're blind, 'cause his light, it always shines. And my eyes have seen the glory of the Lord.
From Blind Joe.
I've tried to fight a screaming demon. Yes, I've always struggled bad with 90 proof. Y'all, but lately there's a book that I've been reading, and it's been showing me the way, the light, and the truth. And now my eyes have seen the glory of the Lord, Lord, Lord.
I love me some Blind Joe, man. Thank you, Blind Joe. Yes, my eyes have seen the glory of the Lord. Sounds like somebody else we know. IEMLK. Didn't he say that? I think he has.
I think so.
I have a dream speech.
Mm-hmm.
My eyes have seen the glory of the Lord is the reason for the season. We are just 3 days away now from the birth of a guy in a manger that has changed the entire world. Let's just go there for a minute. Dr. Jake Schmidt's with us. Freedom Wellness Center. Check him out on Facebook, Freedom Wellness Center. He's going to be sitting in for me next week. A couple days away here, man, until the reason for the season, the birth of Jesus.
Yeah. Amen.
That's all you got.
That's it. That's all you need. Amen. I believe.
All right. So I want to play a clip for you quickly here. I want to remind you tomorrow, 4:30 p.m., whatever you're doing, change your schedule. Change your calendar. You're going to want to be with me because tomorrow at 4:30, Dr. Peter McCullough, Scott Henn, and I are going to be doing this together. And we've got some incredible questions for Dr. McCullough to get the latest on what's going on, maybe even get his reaction to President Joe Biden, saying, hey, for the unvaccinated, it's going to be a dreary, dreary winter. So here's Dr. Peter McCullough again on the Joe Rogan Show. And this podcast, if you haven't heard, it's 3 hours long, and it is incredible. Incredible. You and I together are going to create the vision of the United States of faith. We're going to make the United States of faith again, right? All right. So listen to this closely about if we would have done one simple thing with people early on with the onset of COVID, what would have happened?
Heather, I'm telling you, Joe, every single one of my high-risk patients, I've always treated to prevent hospitalization and death. Of the 800,000 deaths that we are right now, I can tell you to a one, they've received either no or inadequate early treatment.
I mean, that is a mic drop, Dr. Jake.
Yep. It's totally true. 100% accurate. I mean, think about what's happening right now. If you get the diagnosis of coronavirus or COVID, I mean, it's like go home and wait. And if you need us, come back. I mean, there's nothing right now that's being done. Maybe monoclonal antibodies, maybe. I can maybe go there, but that's only a certain demographic of people that get that.
So to me, the only metric that matters when it comes to the situation is hospitalizations and deaths. You've got Dr. Peter McCullough saying, hey, we could have prevented, he goes, 2A1. In other words, we could have saved 800,000 American lives if we just would have instituted a decent early treatment protocol. And you're like, yeah, absolutely. How do we not do that?
If the goal is fear, and then that means the goal is not to help people survive. So that's back to your point at the very start of this show today. If my goal is to instill fear so that I can have control, then the story headlines need to be hospitalizations and death. That's it. People living from this thing, that's not a good story. It has to be hospitalizations and death. And that's where, like, my patients magically seem to survive this thing. Overwhelmingly, I've yet to have a patient die, and I've had many have COVID. And yeah, so like statistically, you'd think I would have lost numerous patients at this point, and yet I haven't. In fact, I've had one severe case of it, and he was 82, and he survived.
And when you say you survive, you just got about 30 seconds left. So were you treating them? Because you can't prescribe ivermectin, correct?
Nope. Yep. No, I can't do
hydroxychloroquine. Can you prescribe that?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
So then what are you doing?
All I'm doing is vitamins and lifestyle, and that's it.
And you've not lost. So how many people would you suggest that you've treated?
I've had at least 3 dozen of my patients end up with COVID, and not one. And statistically, based on what we're told, I should have lost, and especially an older demographic of patients is what I have. I should have lost people, and I haven't.
Wow. All right. Starting Monday, Dr. Jake's going to be sitting in for me for all of pretty much next week. What do you got in store? Do you have any idea?
Oh, I got lots of stuff. It's going to be fun. We're going to be talking boards and commissions in general. We're going to be talking more COVID stuff. I'm going to be talking about Wellness Wednesday. I got lots planned for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited.
So if you don't know, too, Dr. Jake does an outstanding job covering the Fargo school boards and what's going on there. So it'll be a great, great week next week. Be sure and join Dr. Jake for the Chris Berg Show, your daily dose of truth to help set you free. Tomorrow, again, share with your family and friends, 4:30 p.m. We're going to have Scott Henn join us in the early part of the show. He just got back from an amazing trip down in Arizona. But then 4:30 p.m., Dr. Peter McCullough is going to join us. As you know, we live stream the show every single day. So even if you have families over in India, Israel, all across the globe, just share our Facebook page, our YouTube, our Twitter, and they can tune in from anywhere across the entire world and hear from Dr. Peter McCullough himself as far as what's next in this COVID situation. Going to be amazing. Thank you so much. God bless you. We love you. This is the Chris Berg Show. Have a great day.
At Brenco, cleaning equipment and supplies are their special.